What up? Welcome back to Studio Day Heffrey for Jeffrey time. And I tell you what, as the great philosopher once said, it's been a long time and I shouldn't have left you without a YouTube video to watch and stuff. Shout out to Chris Holt. He said, I've been patiently waiting for your next YouTube video, but I'm currently going through withdrawals. Sorry, left town on you. Went out of town, but I'm back. Tell your friends. Check 1053thefan.com every day. Get you hooked up. So, recapping the combine, and where I actually want to start today is I got a new front runner for who's going to be picked at number 17 overall, okay? I've been kicking around the 40 burger idea, and I know some of you don't like it. I see you in the comments hating on the 40 burger strategy. But after the combine, I think the most realistic option to pick at number 17 for the Cowboys, the new front runner, if you will, is C.J. Henderson, the Florida cornerback. He had an outstanding combine. He ran in the 4.3s, bench press, 20 reps, which I don't care. Bench doesn't matter. But good for him. It was great. Because I tell you what, he's got longer arms than some of the cornerbacks, over 31 and a half inches. He's 6'1", so the length that NFL teams want, the size that NFL teams want. And as a guy who is 6'3", I can tell you, bench press was made for short arm people. People who are going to knock that thing out, they got short arms. It's for the T-Rex armed guy. That's what bench is for. Do you know how far the bar has to go for me? I'm 6'3". And I could also do 0 reps right now at 225, but don't worry about that. Once upon a time, I could do 1 rep. Once upon a time, I did 2 reps while I was at Abilene. 2. C.J. Henderson, though, 6'1", over 200 pounds, and he ran the 4.3. Jumps were great. Bench was great. Field work was great. I think C.J. Henderson is going to be firmly my cornerback number 2. Jeff Okudah at Ohio State's an incredible prospect. He's going to go in the top 10. So we can't worry about him, but we can worry about C.J. Henderson, and I think that helped thin it out for me. So the combine, what it is you take a bunch of guys and you say, all right, I think all of you are the same sort of, for Henderson and a lot of other guys, you're between my 13th or 14th and 20-something prospect, and he solidified it. He's got prototypical size, great in man coverage, runs like the wind. So C.J. Henderson, Florida corner, if he got picked at 17, I would go, okay, that works for me. One of the guys that for me should be removed from the conversation for your first overall pick is A.J. Epinesa, the Iowa defensive end. He's got great production. He's heavy-handed. He's powerful. He has a lot of good on his college tape. But pre-combine, my one worry was, how athletic is he? Because he doesn't look like a guy that can turn the corner. He doesn't look like a guy that can win with speed. And as a pass rusher in today's NFL, so often you've got to get to the quarterback in a hurry or the ball's out. And so I was curious to see how he would test, and maybe he would test better than I thought. And I could feel better about, well, you know, he's going to win a different way. And I was hopeful that would happen. But over 5 seconds on the 40-yard dash. Let me see if I can get his 3-cone time here. But for me, A.J. Epinesa is a guy that I would have fall out of the first round, where I just say, I've got a bar that I'm not comfortable going under or jumping over or whatever. If you're a pass rusher, I need you to be athletic. It's just for me. And he's not athletic enough. I still think he could be a solid NFL player, but he's going to be more of I think he'll probably be more of a 3-man line, play the defensive end 5 technique, and just play there with power. And then if you're in a blitz-heavy team, maybe having extra guys going, you get a chance to go one-on-one. I think he'll be a good player, but A.J. Epinesa, for me, I would probably drop him out of the first round. Now, other guys who really helped themselves at the NFL Combine, we've talked about receiver a lot, and I know it drives some of you crazy that I'm trying to drop the 40 burgers. But what I would like to look at is some of the wide receivers who really surprised with their athleticism, and one that made me really, really, really happy. So a guy named Thor Nystrom, he works at Roto World, and he compiles the Spark scores. Like, it's an old, I believe Nike came up with it, and they never released the formula, but they kind of reverse engineered it. And so Spark score is what percentile athlete are you amongst NFL prospects after we've done your athletic testing. And Henry Ruggs is in the 99th percentile. Donovan Peoples-Jones at Michigan is in the 99th percentile. Chase Claypool at Notre Dame is in the 98th percentile. And then now let's talk about the wide receivers that I don't know if I would say surprised, but had a really, really good showing. My guy, he was my sleeper before the combine, and now I don't think he'll qualify as a sleeper anymore. Denzel Mims at Baylor. He tested in the 94.6. So basically the 95th percentile amongst NFL wide receiver prospects. So Mims tore up the Senior Bowl. People couldn't cover him out there. You have questions about Baylor receivers and their route running and how far they've got to go. But Denzel Mims is big, strong, fast, has all the athletic tools to run whatever route you want. Denzel Mims, I don't know if he'll sneak into the first round, but I think there's no way he gets out of the second round now, so shout out to Baylor. Jalen Reagor, 93rd percentile, despite not having real good shuttles, but he added weight for the combine, which I thought was interesting. And then he ran in the 4.4s, and he had really, really good jumps, so the lower body explosiveness is there. And then my guy, I didn't know he would test this well, but Michael Pittman at USC. He's a senior, never really was a huge name as a first-round prospect, and when I first watched him, I was like, oh, dude, I would take him in the second round, no problem. This dude's really good. And I didn't see that from other analysts, and I was like, man, why isn't Michael Pittman on there? What am I missing here? But it's going to start catching up because he tested in the 85th percentile, grade 40, good jumps. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be a top 60 pick. It's going to happen, or it should happen. And then Justin Jefferson at LSU blazed the 40, 4.43. And on tape, I didn't know if he was fast. He's in the slot, and he shows that he's a good route runner. He's dependable. He's got really good hands. And now you add in the fact that he tests as a great athlete. And I think Justin Jefferson may be a first-round receiver now. The opposite end of that is Jerry Jeudy, 21st percentile athlete amongst wide receivers. But I'll say this. There's a reason our podcast is called Trust the Tape. I ain't worried about it. He's got enough tape. I've got enough evidence on tape that he can win off the line of scrimmage. He can win in routes. He can win deep. He can win short. He's great after the catch. I don't need it. Great athletic testing is something that's really fun where if somebody does it and they test really, really well, then you'll go back and you'll be like, okay, let me give him another chance on tape here and let's see if I'm missing something. If a guy just tests okay, like Jeudy, but his film is phenomenal, I'm not worried about it because I know what he can do on a football field. And shout out to Jonathan Taylor at Wisconsin, the running back. I don't think people expected him to be maybe the best athlete among the running backs. Technically, A.J. Dillon was, but Jonathan Taylor, 90th percentile amongst NFL prospects as an athlete. So that's pretty sweet. Okay, now on to the mailbag. Let me see what the people want. What do you think about Devin Duvernay from Grayson Pitts? I like him. I don't know that he has a special trait that jumps out to me. He's fast. He's dependable. One of the problems at Texas is you put him in the slot there, and you're not facing a bunch of press man coverage, so I think there's some uncertainty there. I think his catch radius with his size is just okay, but I think that's a starting slot receiver, and I think Duvernay is a third, maybe fourth at latest round pick that can be a starting slot in the NFL. I like him. There's just some other guys that I love. Every season, some small school dudes, is from James, surprise the NFL and explode into an excellent player. Jeff, tell me what small school wide receiver, D tackle, or safety you think could be that guy this year. Thanks. Jim, a.k.a. Captain Comeback. There's two safeties. What is it? South Illinois, and is it Kyle Duggar at Lenore-Rhine? And then I believe it's Jeremy Chin at Southern Illinois. Those are your two safety names that people are talking about, and I have limited film on them so far, but we're efforting, so I'll have full scouting reports on those guys. But right now, from what I've seen, I would imagine those guys are more third or fourth round players than higher than that, but let me get all the way through their tape before I say that for sure. Wyatt Lunn, if the top players on your board were Kaylavon Chason and C.J. Henderson at 17, who would be the best pick? Oh, now remember, I'm one of those crazy people who leans toward coverage over pass rush. I can fake a pass rush by sending an extra person. It's hard to fake coverage. And I guess you could say, oh, you could just drop another person, but it's harder to be great at coverage than it is to creatively generate a pass rush. I'll take C.J. Henderson. Chaseon's going to be really intriguing to somebody. I want to see it his pro day when he works out. But Chaseon's going to be really intriguing to somebody because he is the exact opposite of A.J. Epinesa. He's a skinnier guy, but he is twitched up, and he is a turn-the-corner guy. Chaseon, I would totally understand considering at 17, but C.J. Henderson I'm definitely more comfortable with. I think he's got a really high ceiling too, but I think the floor is higher on C.J. Henderson. Landon Holyfield. Jeff, can you explain to the public why left D-end and right D-end have their own specific classifications and why that's important? Some Twitter warriors out there don't seem to get it. Well, I might be one of those warriors, Landon, because there was a time, like specifically the Cowboys, there are certain teams that view this a certain way. The Cowboys were always a team that thought right defensive end, the quarterback's blind spot, what I want is Randy Gregory. I want Gumby. I want the guy who can, turn that corner, and if he's not great at run defense, so be it. And the left defensive end was Tank Lawrence, a guy who can play with power, doesn't get moved in the run game, and that's the way they've always sort of viewed it. I think that's outdated. I think now, for instance, Mitch Schwartz might be the best offensive tackle in football right now. He plays right tackle. It used to be, the guy on the left is the best, but that's not the case anymore. Khalil Mack rushes off of the offense's right. So does J.J. Watt, and so does Tank Lawrence. And a lot of the best pass rushers are coming from the offense's right, the defense's left. I don't care about right and left anymore. I think that's outdated, but there certainly was a time, and the Cowboys were definitely a team that would talk about right defensive end and left defense. Robert Quinn, right defensive end. Turn the corner, get the sacks. Left defensive end, Tank Lawrence. But no, I think that's outdated for tackles and for defensive linemen. Just give me two really good players and line them up, and I'm not worried about it. Excuse me. Let's talk. This is C.T. Coleman. Let's talk wide receiver combine and how it may have affected their rankings. Disappointed in the wide receiver 40 times. I have more interest in Justin Jefferson and Michael Pittman. Pittman is a monster of a wide receiver. I agree. Ruggs proved that most speed guys are injury prone. What? I'd be worried about spending a 1 on him. I would not be worried about spending a 1 on Henry Ruggs at all. And number 17, I would do a backflip. I think it would be a great pick. Mims could be the steal of the draft if he makes it to the third. I do agree with that. Denzel Mims. It's a deep wide receiver group, but I think Denzel Mims did enough through the Senior Bowl, through the Combine, and you combine that with his tape, that if he gets to the third round, I think the NFL is and the teams are going to be making a mistake. I'll point out other players that are getting picked above him and say that it's a mistake. He says Jerry Jeudy and CD are solid. Yes, they're rock solid. They're first-round picks. Has the Combine changed where you think teams will pick wide receivers in round 1? From Trenton. No. The Combine will never change that much. It can take one of your sleeper guys and make them more mainstream, like I think is about to happen with Denzel Mims. I kind of saw that from him already. He even surprised me, but I think I kind of saw him testing well coming if you watched him at the Senior Bowl and if you watched his tape. Let's see here. From Jerry, Jeff, Chase Claypool post-combine numbers or USC wide receiver? Who do you prefer? I prefer Pittman. Claypool, I was wondering if we were going to be like, hey, let's move him to tight end. But even at almost 240 pounds, he tested so well, you don't need to. You put him in the slot, put him wherever you want him. He tested as a great athlete, 4'4" athlete, even though he's 240 pounds, great jumps. You don't have to, just because a guy's big, say, oh, he's not a wide receiver anymore. I wouldn't worry about it. Let's see. Adam Ryland Hall, UK Cowboy fan here. Enjoy watching these, man. Good. Tell the whole country. What would it take to convince you to bail and move back to the top of the second round? Picking up a stack of middle rounders could be useful. And then he says, I hate the idea. Why you give me an idea that you hate? I don't mind it. I mean, you have to be really careful with the trade downs because what are you trading away from? Generally speaking, trade downs are a good idea because the draft is an inexact science. And if you end up with more darts, generally you are the winner of that trade. But you also have to believe in your ability to identify talent and stick there and pick if you think it's a different level of player that you're trading away from. Where the Cowboys are, I probably wouldn't mind a trade back at all. If you traded down and you're talking about going from C.J. Henderson to, you're talking about going out of the first round. So let's say you're going to Jeff Gladney at TCU and adding multiple picks. I can do that. No problem. You're moving down and picking Grant Delpit. Okay, I can do that. And then with those additional picks, you can maybe look at a day 2 defensive tackle and a day 2 wide receiver or a day 2 tight end, corner, whatever. Trade downs are a good idea. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Heffrey Time. It's good to see you. Remember, in the comments, leave what you want to talk about tomorrow. Give me some content to work with. And I'll see you guys on the radio. Subscribe to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Turn on the notifications. Don't miss a video. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be behind. Check 1053thefan.com every day. I'll see you on the radio.